He shows us what it looks like to live this way. The call to grow in these 9 aspects is ultimately a call to become like Jesus, the truly luminous, united life that has ever been lived. John Stott, in his commentary on this passage, I think very helpfully points out that the first 3, love, joy, and peace, are primarily about how we relate to God. The second 3, patience, kindness, goodness, are about how we relate to other people. And the final 3, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, are about how we relate to ourselves, our own kind of inner life. And the point is we need all 9 aspects to come together. An illustration of this might be if you think of white light. If you refract it through a prism, then you see that it's made up of actually 7 colors that make up the 7 colors of the rainbow. But when held together in unity, all of those 7 colors make the color that is white and make up the richness of white light that brings life to plants, enables them to grow, and to us as we enter into the spring and out of the darkness of winter. You take one of those colors out, you don't have white light anymore. You need all 7 of them. Well, in the same way, we need all 9 aspects of the fruit of the Spirit. There's a unity to it. And let me try to show you why this is so important. It's easy if you go down this list and treat it as just a kind of list, to kind of look at some of the aspects and think, well, I'm good at that, and I'll just focus on those ones because those are the ones I'm naturally good at. For example, let's say that you meet someone, and as you're getting to know her, you realize that she just seems like a very peaceful person. And so you would say, looking at her life, that she really has the gift of the fruit of the Spirit of being peace, of being peaceful, right? Love, joy, peace. You'll say, well, she's got a lot of peace about her. She's peaceful in her relationships. Nothing seems to fluster her too much. She's peaceful within herself. And she's a kind of peaceful and calming presence in her friendship groups and in her communities, wherever she goes. A kind of affable person that seems to get on with everyone and smooths over social problems. And you can often look at that type of person and say, wow, what a wonderful, godly person. But then as you get to know her a bit more, something happens in one of her communities that she's part of where someone is badly treated by someone else. And so there needs to be some kind of justice, some kind of truth-telling in that community to bring about some reconciliation there. And you notice that when she's involved in that her desire for peace trumps justice and truth, and so she won't call anyone to account. And when you try to confide in her that something needs to be done, she says, I don't want to get involved because I don't want to cause a ruckus. And you suddenly realize that actually she has a high value of peace, but it's not a true peace, because in some of her relationships, there's kind of a false peace, where justice is not properly looked at and truth isn't properly spoken. That's not true peace, right? That's not the peace of a just community. A person who overvalues peace like that and undervalues justice doesn't bring about justice and peace in the community in a true sense. Do you see why they need to be held in unity? The one needs to inform the other, and we could flip it over the other way around. Or let me give you another example. Let's say you meet someone and you think, well, he's got a lot of self-control about him. He's a very disciplined person. He gets an enormous amount done. He's very effective and efficient at work. He's an early riser. He gets up, he's got his targets and his goals, and he really hits those targets and goals. And you really admire the way he gets so much done and all the things he achieves. It would be the type of person, maybe your boss or someone at work, and you think, wow, I'd love to be like them. But then as you get to know him a bit better, you watch his interactions, and it's true, he is very disciplined, very self-controlled, gets a lot done, not easily drawn into arguments and things. But you notice that he's quite unkind to people. Because in his pursuit of his self-controlled discipline, the goals that he's after, someone else comes along and they're not quite, a person worth spending time on. So he can be cold and dismissive to that person. Or something comes that might distract him from his goal, while he kind of just pushes them to one side, almost goes over the top of them. And so you realize that such a person has great self-control, but that self-control is not tempered with kindness for other people. It can become a self-centered self-control, rather than self-control that leads to flourishing for other people around them. Even as I'm going through this right now, I see a few friends kind of elbowing each other as if to say, that's you, and that's you, type thing. Because we all, and maybe as you think about it, you're thinking, that's me. That's the type of person I am. You see, it's easy if we use it as a shopping list. We cherry pick the virtues that we're good at, but we don't hold ourselves accountable for the ones we're not. But the point is we need all 9 to actually live the good life. And they temper one another and inform one another. And of course, the point about this is not an abstract description of just some virtue list in literature. This list is a description of the one united good life. You look at this and you read the pages of the New Testament, you realize this is describing Jesus of Nazareth. This is the life that he lived, the perfect life. Think about that for a moment. He was totally at peace with himself and with other people. So calm under pressure, such a restoring, peaceful presence in community. So much at peace that even when there was a storm raging and the disciples were fearful for their own lives, where was Jesus? He was asleep on a cushion on the bow of the boat. Not even a storm riled him up. And yet, did he not have a concern for justice and truth and faithfulness as well? Oh, he had a profound concern for that. For example, when he would see injustices done, he would speak truth to power. He cared so much about the true peace of restored worship in the temple that he turned over the tables and cast out the moneylenders and the unjust practices from the temple to bring a true restored peace into that community at the heart of Jerusalem. Here was no peace without justice, but here was peace and justice coming together in the life of Jesus Christ. Or think about his self-control, remarkable self-control. When all others fell away, he went resolutely to the cross, as Luke puts it in Luke chapter 9, verse 51. He set his face to the cross, and nothing would perturb him or put him off from walking to the cross so that he might fulfill his mission of saving the whole world from sin. But as he went along, was his self-control such that he would trample over other people because they didn't fit his agenda? No, even as he rides into Jerusalem and the crowds are cheering his name, he can discern one voice amongst the crowd, a man called Bartimaeus, a blind beggar that everyone else overlooked, calling out to him, "Son of David, have mercy on me." And he pauses and slows the whole procession to go and talk to him and find out. He says, "What do you want from me?" And he restores his sight. Or think of the time when someone calls him to go and raise someone from the dead. Someone who's at the point who's just died, and he says, "I'll go and be with you." And on his way, some woman comes who's for years been struggling with an intimate disease whereby she's been bleeding, and she just touches the hem of his cloak, and he stops everything and pauses and restores her so kindly and so gently, tending to her need. Remarkable discipline and self-control. Nothing would put him off from his mission, but incredible kindness and gentleness with it, such that a bruised reed he would not break and a smoldering wick he would not snuff out. He shows us the unity of this fruit of the Spirit. He shows us what it looks like to live this way. The call to grow in these 9 aspects is ultimately a call to become like Jesus, the truly luminous, united life that there's ever been lived.